Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hello, everyone.
I
Thank you for being here.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. I guess everyone sees my presentation now in full screen mode. My name is Aphrodite Fotiu. I am a member of EURECA-PRO, and I am working here in the Technical University of Crete. Today, we are meeting for a Technology Transfer Office Knowledge and Exchange activity. Our session will have a duration of 90 minutes. I will start with a short introduction, and then we will have the contribution of the Technology Transfer Office of the University of Hasselt with Mrs. Kennens and Mr. Palmers, and afterwards the contribution from the Montan Universität Leoben with Mrs. Karin Rehacek. And we will conclude with a Q&A session and hopefully a fruitful discussion. EURECA-PRO was created through the European Universities Initiative of the European Education area, which has an ambitious target of transforming higher education institutions by developing a long-term structure and strategic cooperation. So EURECA-PRO comprises of 9 universities based in 8 European countries with 120,000 students, 18,000 staff members, and it was established in November 2022. Here are the campuses scattered around Europe, and it supports its twofold mission, societal and planetary, based on 2 sustainable development goals of the United Nations, SDG 12 on responsible consumption and production, and 4 on quality education. EURECA-PRO aspires to be the educational core hub of interdisciplinary research and innovation in responsible consumption and production. And within these 5.5 years of operation, it has funded mobility of staff and students for education and training. It supports research collaboration and develops joint study programs in bachelor, master, and PhD level. As it regards research, the research strategy of EURECA-PRO is based on 5 areas of expertise called strategic challenges, which are basically the core and the identity of EURECA-PRO research. And these are circular economy and natural resources, just societal multi-scale transition, energy transition, Industry 4.0, and global health. Within these 5 areas, 4 flagship communities have been created. These are researcher communities, actually, in the fields of social sciences and humanities for transition, sustainable materials for buildings, sustainable mining and resources, and energy transition and hydrogen. EURECA-PRO also supports students, staff, and young professionals with an educational INE, Innovation and Entrepreneurship program, which is structured of 3 interconnected courses designed to build real entrepreneurial skills and develop solutions to real-world challenges and contribute to the responsible consumption and production goal of the university. This is the annual program for 2026. The first course on sustainable innovation and ecopreneurship was delivered in mid-January until mid-February. Now we are in the process of the second course entitled INE Purpose-Driven Entrepreneurship, Social and Rural Ventures. And right afterwards, the INE Deep Dive Intensive course will be delivered. More information can be found in EURECA-PRO website about the educational component of innovation and entrepreneurship. And just a few words on the Technology Transfer Office of the Technical University of Crete. This is a young and dynamic office established in December 2023 under the governance of our Vice Rector for Research and Innovation, Professor Kostis Ugrinis. It is integrated in the Financial and Administrative Support Unit of the Special Account for Research Funds, and its mission is to support the protection, management, and exploitation of research results and innovative activities generated within the Technical University of Crete. As of September 2025, the Technology Transfer Office has assisted 5 European patent applications, 11 Greek patent applications, 2 software timestamp certificates, 2 EU trademark registrations, and 4 active spin-off companies. And the Technology Transfer Office aspires to stay informed about emerging procedures, international developments, and best practices in technology transfer in order to strengthen its services and further enhance the Technical University of Crete innovation ecosystem. Since you are all here today, I assume that you have been registered in the TTO Knowledge Exchange Activity course in Moodle, where you will find all the information on today's session, and also the EURECA-PRO Capacity Building handout, which consists of the capacity building strategy of EURECA-PRO and also key findings from a survey conducted in the 9 technology transfer offices of the Alliance at the end of 2024. And I strongly encourage you to provide your feedback in the evaluation section as well, so that I will have your feedback on the activity today and also on your training wishes for the future. And I don't want to waste no more time, so I will give the floor to Mr. Palmers, Mr. Stephen Palmers, who is a part of the Hasselt University and is involved in the Digital Future Lab as a business developer. Mr. Palmers, now I see that
Anneke is
Mrs.
also
Anneke
here.
Kennens is also here. So who is going to start first?
Anneke will do the first parts.
Yeah, I will start. I will share my screen.
So thank you, Mrs. Anneke Kennens. Mrs. Anneke Kennens is a member of the Technology Transfer Office and a Knowledge Transfer, Community Building and International Projects Manager. Thank you, Mrs. Kennens.
Thank you for the introduction. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we do see it.
You see the presentation?
Not in full screen yet.
Okay, let me check. Is that better?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
So yeah, thanks for the nice introduction. My name is Anneke. I work for the Tech Transfer Office since 2012. I'm gonna just tell you a little bit about our TTO, the way we work, the way our roles are set up. Um, just some general information. I will give you some best practices, and after that, Stephen will talk a bit more about the flow that we use when we are going to the market. First of all, a general thing. Let me check if it goes to the next slide. There it is. So we are a central department of Hasselt University. We work on knowledge transfer and valorization. In Hasselt, we have a strong connection with the region. So we are a university that's located in a region where there was mining in the past. So we have a really strong connection, and within our knowledge transfer and valorization, we feel that too because we work a lot with the local industry as well. Next to that, we of course have a view on the whole world, for example, within this alliance and other European projects as a TTO. We focus mainly as a TTO on economic impact, also on societal impact, but I will talk about that a little bit later. We are responsible for the spin-off creation, all the contracts. We are working on entrepreneurship for doctoral students, and as you said before, I'm responsible for community building. So this is our organization. We have 31 people working for the Knowledge Transfer Office. We have a central administration tech transfer office, and we have business developers. There is a difference in the way that we work. The central department is the main TTO. We have a director. We have a lot of legal officers, so people who really are responsible for contract negotiation and IP, the IP legislation. We have people that work on spin-off creation. We have people that work on data and funding, and then some people working on community and communications. And then the business developers that are part of our team, they work more decentralized, so they are embedded within our research institutes and our faculties, which means that they are working closely with our legal officers, but they have an academic background and they have a good view on what research is conducted within the domains that you see on the slide here. They are really close to the researchers, and they are closing the gap between the research that has been done and the industry. So I think that's one of our strong suits in TTO, that we don't only have a central office, but we really have our tentacles within all the research groups. Then just some figures. Doesn't really say much if we don't explore it a bit more. But we have, at the moment, we have a strategy on patents that in the past we had a lot more patents, but our strategy now is that we only file for patents when we know that in the near future there will be royalties or we will have it licensed. So that's a strategy so it's 65 now, but these are really promising patents that we can really sell to industry. Then licenses 22. We have 21 active spin-offs. We have a lot more spin-offs created, but some are taken over by bigger companies. But these are the ones that are really still active in the same way that they were created when they started here from Hasselt University Research. And we have 720 number of research contracts, which are negotiated by the business developers and our legal officers. And then just a network. I told it before, we are rooted in the region, so very important that we have a local connection with the industry in our province. But of course, we work a lot in Flanders, in Belgium, and outside the Belgian borders, of course. Here you have some stakeholders. Very important for us are the strategic clusters that Flanders have. We work a lot with the other universities in the neighborhood within a TTO Flanders initiative. We are connected with all the TTOs in Europe as well. We have a big network called ASTP, where we are sharing ways of working within all the European TTOs, which is a very, very strong suit, I think, as well. We are linked to EURECA-PRO, of course, as a whole university. So this is just an overview. I'm not going to go into detail on this. Then maybe interesting to know how to cooperate with Hasselt University as a company or as industry, as an external organization. Our TTO does not work for students. So I know it's different in every country, but for us, we only work with researchers and PhDs. We are not working with master students. The IP of master students, they are a full owner of something that they invent. For PhDs and researchers, it's different. But company can still work together with students, but that will not go via our TTO. What we do is consultancy, so short-term research. We do big research projects, PhDs with industry, for example. We have a lot of infrastructure that companies can use, and there's a lifelong learning thing as well at the university. So this is an overview. I will send the slides later. So the way that we work together with companies, who will do the work, and then what is the cost? It's maybe interesting just as an inspiration. Our team, I think for a TTO, the core tasks are mainly the same for all TTOs within universities. So it's about collaborating with industry, drafting, negotiating, and concluding contracts, negotiating on IP, licensing, and coaching of spin-off projects. It goes from setting up a business plan, looking for a team, the financing part, and the network. So those are really the core tasks of a TTO. If you even look it up on the internet, that's what a TTO does. What else do? We are, of course, responsible for implementing the TTO policy at the university. We support European framework programs. We have an advisor that really works on those two pillars. We organize training networks within the university, like the Valorization Academy. So all the sessions on research, on tech transfer and innovation for researchers are organized by us. We work on financing. We have a connection with all the regional stakeholders and international stakeholders. We have our own communication department that I have, and we have a lot of capacity building projects on knowledge transfer. So I think the core tasks are, of course, very important, but there's a lot more to the TTO than just spin-offs and IP. Then for info, this is the way that we work. You have the researchers sitting within all the research groups, together with the business developers that work per domain. We have a tech transfer office, and we have a good cooperation between the two. So if you look, I'm not going to go into detail, but you can read it maybe later. We just have a detection of ideas that happens within the research groups, and all the other things like the market intelligence, contact with industry. That's a TTO working together with business developer and researchers and industry. So it's a very good cooperation. Just because I know it's very important that there's also societal impact. A TTO gets funded in Flanders for economical impact, but at the university we of course agree that societal impact is very important as well. So yeah, we have a current focus on economical impact due to our funding office, but there's more and more attention on societal impact as well. Don't need to say more about that, I think. Then we are a civic university rooted in the region. And what is very important for us, and I know that EURECA-PRO is working on that as well. We did a very extended Age Innovate exercise, which is on entrepreneurship in education, entrepreneurship within a university itself, in internationalization, but also in valorization. So for us, it's not only the startups or the spin-offs, but it's some kind of common thread within the university. And as a TTO, we are a key player for entrepreneurship through our researchers, of course, and the PhD students. So we coach them on entrepreneurship, and we coach them to create their own companies. We connect also this community with partners within the industry or within organizations that work on startups. And I think that's one of the most important roles that we have now as well, to get an entrepreneurial mindset into our researchers. Okay, some best practices, because sometimes you tell the story easier when you give examples. So those are best practices on social impact, which might be interesting for your university as well. What we do as a university in research as well is turn, for example, old buildings into Hasselt University buildings. We have a lot of research on adaptive reuse, where you have a societal impact. You see as well the effects of air pollution. This is a scientific thing, it's an economical thing, but as well it has a big social impact. So these are some examples of what we do. On outreach, I told you before, so the TTO working on contracts, but of course, outreach and communication is a big part as well. First of all, we do internal communication. And in this internal communication, it is about making sure that PhD students from the start of their PhD are aware of, first, the existence of a TTO, so that they know that if they do something, if they invent something, if they have some research results, that they don't go publishing without thinking of the valorization or the IP. So we start from the really early start of a PhD to inform them about valorization and applied research. So this is an internal communication that's very important. Next to that, of course, we want to communicate to the external world about our research results. A good practice here is, for example, we have when we have an invention, this is also transformed into a sort of marketing tool, a marketing document that we distribute. And these are some examples. You can find them as well on our website. Like, you invent something, the IP is arranged, the contracts are there, or you want to sell it to the university, then the business developers use these tools to go out into the world with these inventions. I talked about our community building. I think we are linked to all the important stakeholders. So we have dedicated strategic meetings with the whole community. It's with the Chamber of Commerce, it's with the government, it's with companies that are important in the region, it's with some other stakeholders. But a very, very important platform for us as well is the collaboration with all the other Flemish universities, where we have one platform for Flanders that companies can go to, they can visit it, and they can see all the expertise that we have in our university, but also in the other universities in the region, or in the Flanders region. Because for a company, we noticed that we exist for almost 20 years now. They don't really care, is maybe not the correct word, but who will do the work as a university? They just want a solution to their problem. For us, of course, it's probably different when you're sitting in Crete, for example, because you have your university there. But we have so many universities in a very small country, and we have complementary research. So we decided that we just do this together and show our expertise to the companies, so they can just ask one question and get answers from maybe more than one university. Next, best practice spin-offs. I would like to show a video, and this video combines the way TTO works, the way our business developer work, the way a spin-off is created, and the way that we do outreach. So I think this is a very good example of our TTO, the way that we work together with researchers, how we create a spin-off, and how we start communicating it. So I hope it will work. Just give me a sign if it doesn't
May
work.
I intervene here? Have you shared the sound of the presentation while sharing? Because if there is sound, in order to
Yes.
hear it,
Yeah.
you need to stop sharing and reshare and tick the box share the sound as
Okay, let
well.
me check. Yeah, I'm stopping. Okay, then sharing again. Also share tab audio. Yeah, it's on, I think. Yes.
Great,
Okay.
thank
Across
you.
Europe, 2 out of 3
Working?
startups fail not because of the technology, but because the founding team falls apart. At Hasselt University, we turned that problem into an innovation.
Nascent is a spin-off of Hasselt University's Faculty of Business Economics. We created an algorithm to analyze the human fit between co-founders by assessing founders' personality and entrepreneurial soft skills such as risk-taking or persistence. Founders can use the platform to find their ideal co-founder match or to assess their existing co-founder teams. In 2025 alone, over 150 users went through the matchmaking cycle, several new founding teams were formed, and existing teams used the tool to strengthen their collaboration.
Nascent started as academic research on entrepreneurship and team dynamics, and then through the Flemish Industrial Development Fund, we were able to guide Nascent through a whole journey from exploration through concept to proof of concept and ultimately launch. We provided resources for market development, IP protection, and prototype development. And ultimately, we also helped with the hiring of an external CEO so that the academics could focus on their academic career while still launching a company.
For the Tech Transfer Office, Nascent was a very deliberate knowledge transfer case. We helped protect the algorithm and the methodology, we structured the license with the university, and we connected Nascent to the Corda Incubator and the acceleration partners. This is where the knowledge transfer network really comes into play. The business developers, the TTO experts, and all the local partners all working together to bring opportunities from the idea stage all the way to the company stage and bringing solutions onto the market.
What makes this story special is that it comes out of social sciences. So it shows that research on teams and people can still be commercially viable. For us at the Faculty of Business Economics, this was only the second spin-off in 18 years, and we actually celebrated across the faculty with a baby shower. Since then, many other ideas have emerged and have come to us for business development support.
For us, success is simple. If we can create stronger co-founder teams and increase startup survival rates, our job is done. For Hasselt University and the knowledge transfer community, this deal proves that with the right funding mechanisms and a proactive TTO, you can turn human-centered research into a scalable and science-based venture. We're proud to represent Hasselt University in ASTP's Deal of the Year category, and we hope to inspire with this case. Please join us in using Nascent to form stronger co-founder teams and to increase startup and spin-off survival rates. Together, let's create an impact across Europe.
Okay, I think that sums up a little bit of what we do in one video. And I shouldn't say it yet, but I'm not sure if anyone is part of the ASCP conference, but we won the award. So this is very nice. Spoiler, but keep it between us. Okay, I think Steve will take over from now, but maybe for this part, are there already questions?
Are there any questions from the audience? Or we could save them for the Q&A session, I guess.
Okay.
Since I don't
go.
see any raised hand.
I think Elpida, the member.
Elpida, I think she said congratulations. She clapped her hands.
Okay, then Steve, I will go to the
Yes.
next slide. Okay.
Thank you.
Let me
Yes,
check.
so I will give a short view from my point of view as a business developer. So as Anneke mentioned, we work in close cooperation with the the people at the Tech Transfer Office, but we are located in the different research groups. So I myself, I'm located in the Digital Future Lab, which is linked to the engineering department, the computer science department, and also the business informatics department and the faculty of architecture and art, which is quite broad, but we all share a common strategy, basically.
Yeah, Steve, just a second, because
Okay.
with the video, there's an issue. Wait, I'm gonna go to the next slide. Yeah, just a second. Sharing again. There you go.
So we are also one of the core labs of Flanders Make, and this is a first small best practice that I also want to share with you, because it also serves as a good introduction to the second part of my presentation, which will look into the, let's say, the choice between a technology push versus a market pull approach. So we are part, as a Digital Future Lab, we are part of Flanders Make, and I could imagine that many of you do not know Flanders Make, so let me really briefly introduce it. So Flanders Make is one of the 4 strategic research centers in Flanders, in the region of Flanders. It's the smallest one, and it's possibly also the one that is, let's say, least known abroad. But you might know one of the others, IMEC, which is the biggest and most famous, I guess, in Flanders. But Flanders Make is also another strategic research center focusing on product and production technology and processes. So they do a lot of things in the domain of, for example, supporting operators during their daily tasks, looking how digital transformation can be achieved, and many of the things that are relevant in Industry 4.0 and more also Industry 5.0. So on the next slide, you can see then, Anneke, can you go to the next slide, please?
Yeah.
So that in the same way as TTO Flanders, that Flanders Make itself is also connected to the 5 Flemish universities. So besides Hasselt University, also the other 4 Flemish universities have labs that are part of this ecosystem. And besides that, Flanders Make also has 3 own, let's say, co-creation centers spread among Flanders, where also their own researchers work that are not linked to the university. So this is a really interesting and strong ecosystem, bringing together expertise from the university labs, but also the own researchers from Flanders Make and their own team of salespeople, technology managers, and so on. The idea of Flanders Make, or the core mission of Flanders Make, is to support companies to be competitive in a digital and sustainable world. And they do this in different ways. So first of all, they have top infrastructure. So they have a lot of infrastructure projects in which we can, let's say, apply for a lot of money that we can use to build infrastructure ourselves or together with the ecosystem that can then be used by the whole ecosystem of companies, startups, scale-ups, researchers, and so on. There are more than 1,000 specialized researchers, all having their own specific expertise that can be, let's say, at random combined to solve almost any question that industry might have. And finally, there is also a really strong ecosystem of partners. And these 3 pillars mean that Flanders Make can create a solution for almost any problem in the industry that can be that we can tackle. And I wanted to highlight specifically one of the 3 elements of the mission of Flanders Make, because we really identify with that statement ourselves, and that's the one that you see on the right, people first. And this is also already a look into the next chapter. We really think it's important that people are involved in making tomorrow's technology. This is already a bit of a teaser towards a technology push versus market pull approach that we believe in. You cannot create new technology without involving the people that will work with that technology in the coming years, without looking at their concerns, what works, what doesn't work, and so on. So let me then dive into this topic of tech push versus market pull. So as you will see here, these are a few sections that will come up. What is it about? Then I will do a small explanation about tech push and about market pull. I will do a small comparison, but mainly I want to look into the final parts, the DFL perspective from our own way of working, our expertise, and then finally a practical framework, how to choose your innovation approach that works best. So the core question is actually, where does innovation begin? Do we look into a tech push approach where technology comes first? Or do we look into a market pull approach where we first look at a problem and then try to see which technology, existing technology that can be adapted or a new technology that we build can be used to solve a real user or market need, a frustration, a market gap, and so on? Or on the other hand, do we really go from a technology first perspective where there is a new discovery, a new invention that is created, and then we sometimes artificially look for a problem or a range of problems that this technology can or could solve. And often the market does not yet exist in that case. So that's a bit the introduction of tech push versus market pull. Let us now look into a bit more detail what tech push is about. So this is actually, the definition is, we look at tech push as a new technology, a new research finding from one of our researchers, for example, or a scientific breakthrough, which could be from one of our researchers, a few researchers, or maybe a combination of universities or an ecosystem, such as in Flanders Make, drives the development of a new product or a new service even before there is a clear market. So the flow that you see on the bottom or in the middle is that we typically start with an R&D trajectory within our own lab. We quite quickly come up with a first prototype that is often still flaky and really not, let's say, sturdy and so on. And then when the prototype has been considered as being interesting to go into a pilot or user study, that's our next step. We want to go into a pilot phase, a user study phase, where we involve several people to find out, is this really something that could be potentially put into the market in the final step? And of course, in any of these steps, the process could potentially be stopped, fail due to lack of resources, the need for money is too high, there is no market, or people are not prepared to invest in it. So these are some things that we still need to look into. So some of the key characteristics, sorry, Anneke, maybe you can go back quickly. So the driver behind a market, sorry, this is the next one already, Anneke. Can you go back? Yes. So the driver here is often the researcher, the engineer, the scientist, or an R&D department, a university or a research center. The risk is, of course, that you build something that is maybe really impressive on a technological level, but that no one wants or no one needs. And the upside is that it could potentially create an entirely new market and could also lead to disruptive competitive advantages. Maybe looking just at some elements of tech push devices that you might already know on the next slide, for example, a GPS, 3D printing. But for example, everyone knows the iPhone. No one was asking for such a device. Apple came up with it, a multi-touch device, a phone, also basically a computer in your pocket. This was one of the prime examples of a tech push approach. Apple created it, put it on the market, and it created a huge market that was not existing beforehand. This is some of the most famous examples of a tech push approach. Then if we look at a market pull, this is typically when you look at a customer need, a pain point, a gap in the market, and the finding of this insights, this will drive the development and application of technology. And as I mentioned before, it could be that we create new technology to solve this need, but it could also be that we adapt existing technologies to a different domain, a different area of application, a different form factor, and so on. So here you start from a clear customer need that you detect on the market. Then later on, you have to define the problem in full detail and try to build a solution to solve that problem or solve that need. And then in the final phase, we go to a deploy and iterate phase, where often many iterations are needed. The key characteristics here, the drivers here behind this process are more often the customers themselves, sales teams, market researchers, but also people like me, business developers, because we are often rooted also in close contact with industry. We go to fairs, we talk to people, we go to conferences and so on. And we, let's say, try to see also these new needs that come up. The key risk, of course, is that you only solve today's problems and that you, in a sense, could potentially miss a disruptive breakthrough. And the upside is that it could potentially lead to a high adoption rate and also to a faster time to revenue because the market already exists. You know there is a need for this solution. One thing that still needs to be, of course, considered is pricing, licensing, and so on. What are people prepared to pay for this solution? This is something that still needs to be looked into. And then you can also here again look at some of the examples of market pool that we already have. For example, Uber, which was a solution created based on the frustration with expensive and also unreliable taxis. And GPS existed, smartphones existed by connecting these two and the need or the frustration from people looking for a taxi. The Uber ecosystem came up. And for example, electrical vehicle charging infrastructure is a bit the same. Chicken egg problem. No one has an electrical car many years ago. So why do we need to find infrastructure or create infrastructure? As we see it right now in Europe and all over the world, basically, electrical vehicles are becoming more and more mainstream. So there is a real need also for people that want to charge when they are going to the next meeting, going home, and so on, because range anxiety is a real problem. And of course, you don't want to be waiting in line for the 20 cars before you to charge before you can go. So there is a real need for charging infrastructure. So this is also an example that we see here. And here is, and I will not dive into this in detail, this is more for completeness sake. Here you can have the different elements, tech push versus market pool, the pros and cons, the differences based on the different elements on the left. And then in the next slide, this is basically the conclusion already a bit. The reality is that it's not binary. It's not either white or black. It's not market pool versus tech push. It's often at the intersection of these two in a hybrid situation that the most interesting innovation is located. And it might also shift over time. And in practice, this will mean that if you go for a tech-first approach, you have to validate with the market because many tech projects pivot actually when you partner with industry to discover the killer use case. On the other hand, when you go to a market-first approach, you create a demand that will potentially attract investments to solve problems that previously were not worth tackling it, but actually the sweet spot, in our view, is demand-driven R&D, combining elements of both approaches. And in this domain, you often find the most resilient and innovative innovations that combine both technical capabilities with a good look onto the market. And this is also in our situation where the role of the business developers, the tech transfer office, and the researchers come together, and we all play a role in this approach. Some examples of our own approach based on either the tech push or the market pool strategy. So we are often at the intersection, as mentioned, and we bridge the tech research with industry application. For example, in the domain of extended reality and immersive technology, we work with extended reality. We have a huge infrastructure, we have a lab, we have many researchers, but we really had to look for some opportunities, domains where extended reality could really make the difference. And this often means crossing traditional borders. For example, we have created a cleaning training tool that helps people become a better clean room cleaner. So we made a prototype, which is now going to the market, of a clean room cleaning software and also a hardware prototype. On the other hand, for example, Gaussian splatting, this is a new invention. The paper was published a year and a half ago. It got a huge uptake in the research ecosystem, and then now we see many interesting applications, especially in culture, heritage, and also city planning. And this is something that it just appeared in the research domain, and really quickly a lot of market applications appeared. And then maybe a final example of where we really work from a market pull signal within the Flanders Make ecosystem with a lot of manufacturing companies and tech providers. We really detected a need for more involvement from the operators themselves. How can we give operators, so not the management, but the operators, how can we give them tools to have better control and a better view on their well-being on the shop floor? And in this case, well-being does not only mean ergonomics or physical well-being, but also cognitive well-being. How high is the cognitive load? Are people at risk of becoming overloaded? Do they need a timeout? Is the risk there that they will become ill, become absent with all the risk involved, and so on? So currently, we are creating a prototype of an application combined with a range of sensors that allows companies to hand it to their operators so they can have the direct view on their well-being almost in a real-time fashion. They can do a check-in at the beginning of the shift, a mid-shift evaluation, and at the end of the day, they can use their dashboard to see how they have been behaving, what their subjective view on the day was, but also based on the sensor data, we will compare it to the objective data, which that they can then add context to. So this is also one of the examples that started from the market pool approach. So maybe going to the conclusion, the practical framework, the typical questions to ask is, if you start from a tech approach, really look into who suffers from those problems today and who suffers the most. And especially, is this problem big enough to build a business around? Is there actually a market that is worthwhile to break into or to offer a solution to? Is there willingness to pay? How much are they willing to pay? And so on. If you start from the market, you identify a problem, a need, then the main question to ask is, how do people solve it today? Why is that not working or not interesting enough for the users? And is technology actually the right lever? Even though we are all technology researchers in our lab, we often ask ourselves the question, is technology the solution? Or is maybe another solution, a change in the process, a better solution than a technology that will solve this? So it's really important to look into this as well, to keep the user involved. So what we see is that we need to look into the partner that we have to have. For example, when we want to go to the market, we will probably need a tech provider that can develop this from a proof of concept, from a prototype to a product that can be put into the market. This could be a spin-off, but also through licensing, this could be an external company. So this is really important to look into. And then on the final slide, I think we have still some key takeaways. So from our approach in Digital Future Lab, we see that both approaches are valid and that context is everything. There is no universal best approach. Often the combination of both is the best solution. The best innovation, as mentioned, bridge both worlds. So you combine technical depth with also knowledge of the market by bringing together the researchers and the business developers and also the potential future customers or clients. At Hugh Hasselt, our main driver is also we are here to translate needs to a technology solution and vice versa. And the fourth and final remark, which is always really important, validate early. Get real feedback from real potential users as early as possible. Do not make assumptions from your own point of view that are potentially expensive at scale and might lead to, let's say, a not so good situation or a stop of the invention. So that's my story for today. Happy to answer questions later on in the Q&A session. And thanks again for giving us the opportunity.
Thank you both, Ms. Kenens and Mr. Palmers. So I guess we will go on with the next presentation from Montana Universität Leoben and Mrs. Karin Rehacek, which I'm going to share right now.
It's not in the presentation mode. Thank you. Thank you, Aphrodite. My name is Karin Reacek, and I'm acting as the head of the Research and Innovation Service Institute at Montanuniversität Leoben. And within my presentation, I would like to talk about two different topics. At first, I would like to do a short presentation from our institute and our service portfolio. And the second topic will be the Tech Fair. It was an event we had last week. And yes, I think it's a very nice best practice example. Before I start, I also would like to thank Anneke and Stephen for their presentations. I highly appreciated that. And of course, we are a smaller university, and of course, we are doing similar things, but also more in an integrated way. So we are a very small team out of 14 people. So 12 are directly in the institute, and 2 colleagues from the legal area are sitting at our institute, but formally and officially related to the rectorate. So we see us as building the bridge between the university and the industry. So everything started from the technology transfer activities more than 25 years ago. And out of these technology transfer activities, a number of additional services have been included over the time. So from the technology transfer, we are also participated or also initiated national and international European networks. We have a funding advisory service activities. These are on the regional, national, transnational, European and international level. We offer project coordination and management, especially for lighthouse projects or bigger Horizon Europe projects. We do in contracts, intellectual property rights, inventions and patents. We also organize a number of events like courses, seminars, information events, and so on. And as the University of Hasselt already mentioned, we also are very strong in regional development. I come to that a little bit later. And also the Startup Center or Incubation Center started from our institute. Is now a separate unit at our university. It's an own company, but there are very close links to the activities we are doing. Independently, before I coming to the other slides, I also wanted to say why it's working, this technology transfer and validation activities. I think mainly is based on trust and personal relationship. So normally everything is starting from smaller projects, and if you are going for a longer term relationship, and that's our primary aim, you need to start from small projects, convince the companies that you are doing great work, and over the time you can have larger projects. And the basis for all is really the trust between the people and the personal relationship. At least that was I took over the years. So now the core of our technology transfer activities. So we are doing quite a number of company visits. And we're doing that visits with and without other mole experts. So we have, beside project-related activities, around 50, at least 50 visits per year. And normally we approach new companies. What we are also offering to the companies is on-site consultations in order to start collaborative research activities. We're also looking for tailored solutions for company-specific challenges. During these visits, we also try to evaluate the cooperation potential with the specific company. And a side effect, a positive side effect is also that during these activities, we also develop in-depth industry knowledge. The main goal of all these activities is, of course, the acquisition of new research projects and the commercialization of research results, as Anneke and Steve already mentioned. Another important aim is the contribution to the regional development, especially in the regional government of Styria. And we are also interacting with a number of stakeholder communities. They are acting as multipliers for our activities. And monitoring of selected technology trends is also an important topic. Okay. Now I'm coming to Aphrodite. Can you just go to the next page, please? Yeah. Here is a best practice example. So we have, I think it's now running around more than 10 years. I'm pretty sure about that. So the Styrian government, together with the city of Graz and the Chamber of Commerce, they give us some funding, not only for us as a university, Mondano University, but also the other research partners in Styria. And the idea is that we are visiting Styrian small and medium-sized companies in order to bring them in relation with research activities. We have, in this connection, we also can identify the needs and the potential for the cooperation. And we also try, if we are in contact with these small and medium-sized companies, we also try to do smaller national projects with them. So we integrate these small and medium-sized enterprises in smaller projects with the university in order to try out and do some smaller demonstrations. Good. Next slide, please. So exactly, that was an example of networking activities. So as already mentioned, so the main important aspect from my side is building contacts, trust, and also increase the size of the collaborative projects over the long-term run. We are active in a number of different networks on the regional, national, European, and also on the ministry level. I'm not going into the details. We also try to connect with stakeholders within a specific regions. Sometimes we also collaborate with other regions and combine those activities. And one example would be the projects mentioned below in connection with poly region, retina, and polymetal that have been very smaller bilateral Austrian-Slovenian projects in the plastics processing and manufacturing area. Good. Another best practice case is this COIN projects. Also here we are connecting small and medium-sized enterprises for a specific topic. The maximum funding is not so big, only 500,000 euros, but it gives us the opportunity to connect a specific companies with each other in a certain branch or area of field. So, for example, the additive manufacturing for SMEs, opt solutions, just to mention a few of that. Then, beside that, of course, quite interlinked to this activity is to providing comprehensive support for funded research projects. Normally, that could happen also from the enterprise side, but normally everything starting from the university partners. So someone is coming with a project idea or potential partners in background and the project idea, and we are searching what would be the best funding opportunity at national, transnational, European and international level. So we try to identify and present the relevant funding alternatives with the pros and cons. If it's requested, we also try to find suitable project partners, because over the years we have a really large network of partner institutions. What we are also doing, we taking part in the setup of the project if this is requested, and also the valorization activities already start here. So if we are setting up a project consortium, we normally do not put competitive partners in such a consortium in order to have this free and trustful connection. We normally also have at least in our mind someone is already exploiting the research activities at the end. We have user partners in the consortium and different research fields. Also, that could be someone from the social science activities. So we really try to make a very to set up a good consortium in order to guarantee the later on valorization of the project activities. Good. The next slide, please. So that means we are offering individualized funding advice and proposal support. So if we are directly participating, so we have sometimes we directly participating, especially in bigger projects, lighthouse projects, and sometimes we only have a look on the project proposals and give our researchers feedback on them. And exactly that's absolutely essential for young researchers in order to get part of the scientific and community of company partners. So we are organizing information events. We deliver direct contacts to key stakeholders. We do one-to-one proposal consultation. We also provide them with unwritten rules in the funding process, because each of the funding programs is a little bit different. We, as already mentioned, we are doing proposal checks, budget planning. We are participating in the implementation of the projects. And of course, we have a very close link and interface to the funding agencies, industry partners, commercial partners, and research institutions. Good. So that's more or less I already have what we are doing in order to foster the culture of research commercialization. So we try to bring that approach already in the proposal preparation phase in order to guarantee that the utilization and exploitation of the project results are really taking place at the end. And here we're offering services in professional drafting, exploitation, and licensing agreements. We also promote results-oriented mindsets and the culture of commercialization. Good. Next slide, please. In connection with the patents, so of course we are also very active in connection with patents. However, because patents are quite expensive, so we are now getting more critical. Before we apply for a patent, and if someone is having an invention, then we already have someone from our startup center at the meeting, as well as we also make this persons aware in connection with patent applications. Good. The next slide, please. Another important topic is lifelong learning and training, education of students, own staff, and industry professionals. Here, in comparison with the University of Hasselt, I need to say, normally we are not also not dealing with students, but there are some exemptions, and most of the so we have a very close contact to PhD students, because most of the PhD students already have an employment contract to the university. And there is one educational program, that's the Delta Academy. You see it at the bottom line. That's a cooperation with the University of St. Gallen, because we are a technical university, and the University of St. Gallen is especially well known for their management education, and therefore we have offer a leadership program for the companies. So students at the end of their studies have a 12 to 15 years, 15 months training program, doing practical cases, and they will already be educated in order to take over a leadership role later on at the different companies. So we have company partners. So this, for the students, this training program is didn't cost anything, but we are getting the funding from the company partners. And of course, we have a so-called high potential young scientist program. That means especially young postdocs and PhD students. We help to improve their skills in proposal writing, in we are doing interview training and this kind of stuff. Yeah. And of course, sometimes we are also doing some training activities for staff members for companies. Good. Now I'm coming to the tech fair. So the tech fair was especially designed for intensifying the connection to our enterprise industry partners. So the primary target group of this event have been only enterprise partners. So we focused on the topic circular engineering, because that's covering the activities of all our university sectors. And the subtitle, sorry, that was the subtitle was where research transforms into entrepreneurial success. It was a one-day event. And we tried to connect leading companies, R&D experts from our university, and cutting-edge applied research. So the primary idea was to initiate a new project proposal and to foster our business cooperations and strengthening existing partnerships. Good, and we did that the first time. So we had more than 100 participants this time. 34 company partners. Some of them took part with not only one person, but up to 3 persons. We just had a block of keynote speeches in the amount of 2.5 hours. We had planned also P2P meetings, and we have an exhibition with 20 booths showcasing the project results of our university. And the booths, Aphrodite, can you just go to the next slide? Yeah. So the booths had the background to show the collaboration with a university partner with a company or industry partner in order to increase the trust of our project output. So what was the intent and the objectives of this tech fair? We wanted to inspire solutions through keynote speeches, expert talks, matchmaking formats. As already mentioned, we showcased 20 project outcomes. We wanted to drive collaboration and to facilitate the partnership between industry partners and our university. And we wanted to enhance the competitiveness for us as university, but also for the industry partners. So if there are research collaboration, of course, the development risks are going to be reduced. Innovation potential is unlocked for long-term success, of course. What have been the benefits for the business partners? So they got direct access to cutting-edge research and results. They could take the opportunities to network with other company partners, with small and medium-sized enterprises, startups, and established industry leaders. So it was not a necessity to connect only with us as a university, but they also got the opportunity to connect with each other. So we had a number of bilateral discussions to specific challenges. Our keynote speakers shared insights to their knowledge, and they could position themselves as an innovation-driven company within a key network. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I'm now looking forward to your questions. So that's my last slide. And of course, I'm also neugierig. I'm also interested to get constructive feedback to our entire service portfolio, because of course I know it's quite wide and comprehensive. So thank you for interest and engagement.
Thank you as well, Mrs. Rajcek.
Thank you.
I see that we have now a quarter left for questions from the audience. Who wants to start? Are there any questions or constructive feedback, or I don't know, I see a hand probably from Iraklis.
Iraklis, yes. We would like to thank you for the very enlightful and interesting presentations. We heard and we saw very interesting and very interesting things here during the last hour. I have a question that I think I can share. Now at the Technical University of Crete, we are currently trying to develop a portal to map and centralize all the institutions' technologies, lab capabilities, expertise, and products. And one of the biggest challenges is that we want this information to be updated and to be important in an information system accessible from the TTO with very easy search capabilities. I would like to ask, have you tackled something similar, or how do you handle this information in your universities at this moment? If you have faced this challenge, or if you have a similar system that you are developing or have developed in the past, and how this is currently evolving.
Thank you, Iraklis.
Maybe speaking for TTO from Hasselt, from our TTO, we don't have such a platform. And I know that the difficulty is to have it. It's not the difficulty to create it, but it's the difficulty to maintain it and to make sure it's up to date. And there's a lot of people that are changing roles, so then it gets forgotten. So yeah, I know the struggles with those platforms. I know, though, that the Research Coordination Office and the Flemish government are working on a lot of those portals. And I know within EURECA-PRO, my colleague Sadia van Kouwenberg, maybe some of you know them, Aphrodite, maybe you know her. She's in the flagship part as well, and she has a lot of knowledge on creating such platforms and creating such overviews. So she might be a good contact, because that's more on the research side, where they have research portals and where the professors and their knowledge and everything, the publications is in there. But it's the same system, actually. It's maybe not based on valorization, but she has a lot of knowledge on those things. Maybe Stephen has some information as well.
Yeah, so as you see, I'm in the car right now, but I try to, I'm a passenger, so I'm safe. Yes, indeed, it's often challenging, and I can really confirm what Anneke is saying. We often in the past created websites for projects, for infrastructure projects, and so on, but the maintenance is actually the thing that's always got forgotten. And as soon as you create your page, it's already obsolete, basically, or outdated, and that's often the challenge. So what we do now is we try to really limit the lists, or an extensive list of all infrastructure, all projects, and so on. We have indeed the Frisportaal that Anneke was also referring to, which is a Flemish initiative from the Department of Economics and Innovation and Research, which helps, but the information that you find there is, in all honesty, quite limited. What we often do is we always make sure that contact details of some of the people that are, let's say, in the long term at the university, that it is always clear who to contact for which type of questions, and then dispatch to the underneath the right researcher or PI. That's what works best in our situation.
I have visited your website, and I saw that the information, the contact information for the professor and the researchers is clear, and you can and obvious. Yes. What we're trying to do here is, first of all, we try to record all the technologies that we have in the university, the labs and the researchers, and we're trying to import in the system that, okay, the personnel of the TTO will have access to everything, but we will also try to give access to the visitors with limited, of course, information, depending on the authorization that they have. And the first stage is almost over. We almost have a prototype at this point. or prototype that's not yet implemented in the website, but it will be in the future. But I was curious if you have faced this problem in the past, and how you are currently managing the information. I mean, you have it somewhere like in spreadsheets and things like that, or the companies they are contacting directly the researchers or the lab when they want information, and then you interfere in the to try to help them do the matching or do the paperwork or something else.
Well, I think there's a few questions in this. So for if you look at our website, you have the it's called the Who is Who, where everyone is stated. Everyone has access to their own page. So every researcher or every administrative people even, we can access our own page. We can fill it in. We can fill out our publications. We can do our projects, our work. So everyone has their own responsibility of keeping their own page relevant. And I think that's a decision that they made as well, because if, of course, one person has to do it for the whole university, it's not possible. It will get outdated. So everyone can update it. For example, if you create a spin-off, this comes from a database, because that is of course registered somewhere in the university. But if you have a publication, so there's a lot of mechanism feeding this page,
Okay.
but you can access as well yourself to add extra relevant information. So it's a bit both ways. But there's a whole system behind it of already existing databases within the university that's feeding that page as well. And then next to that, if you look at the outside world, for companies, for example, if you look at TTO, we have those business developers, and those people are really promoted as the single point of contact, and those people have all the information on the research within some topics. So for example, a company needs information on digital research, they can contact Steven. Steven is in sync with all the research that happens within this topic, and he can already digest the question, see if we have research that is applied enough to work together with the company. So I think it's not we are not communicating a full portfolio. We're communicating with people and names and SPOCs, like single point of contacts, where you have, okay, ask Steven, he will tackle your question, and then we can go further into the content. Because from experience, Steven said it as well, you can never be complete when you have a database or an infrastructure. So sometimes it's better to have single point of contacts and have in the background working on those things. But there's something to say for both of
Yes,
those
indeed.
things.
I can maybe add that what we often do is that I or my colleague, business developers, have a first call or first meeting with a company, and then we already get a better view of what they really need, because sometimes they think they need something, but often they don't know yet what they need or what expertise they are looking for, which willingness to pay there is, which role they want to play. And what we most often do is we invite them in our lab, have a meeting with, we have some of the PIs there, some of the PhD students, we give some demos, and based on those insights, often the problem statements becomes much more clear, and that really helps. Talk to them as early as possible, invite them, let them experience the technology themselves, and that often really helps in, let's say, detailing the problem better, or showing what potential offers you can put to them, and which trajectories to build upon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. I don't see any other questions in the chat, but are there participants that want to share something? I see Sinove. Sinove, you want to ask the question yourself?
Yes, I'm sorry, I just didn't find where I can put up my hand. So, hello. I was just very interested, very curious to get a bit more to know about the service for society you mentioned, Anneke, because we're also having a part or a task within the European University Alliance about third mission. And I'm not completely sure if this might be interesting from our point of view. So I see the time for this meeting is already up. But maybe this would be something I would be just interested to hear a bit more about what you're doing in this context. And maybe you can say a few words about this, or maybe we can also meet again and talk about this a bit more in depth.
Yeah, of course. So I think the main thing for the TTO, that's what I mentioned in the presentation earlier. We are funded by the Flemish government, and we get funds for KPIs that have direct economic impact. So this is our first mission as a TTO. But of course, as you know, a university works in society, works for society. So we have in the last couple of years, we have been focusing more on the direct impact. So on for example, on impact licensing and those things. So I'm not the expert in societal impact, but we have a whole working group within the university that is really focusing on this topic. We have a toolkit that measures societal impact. So we are really, I think we're quite dedicated in. So I'm not sure, do you want to know, like, content-wise, what are we doing for society, or how do you communicate it? Or, yeah, that's a broad question, so I can, yeah.
Thank you very much. I think I would be interested in everything, to be honest. Just
Okay.
to understand what you're doing, how you're doing that,
Okay.
and just to talk about this maybe a bit more.
Okay, so I think it would be good to set up a meeting. We have a
Yes.
business developer. She's called Lieve Weetjes. She's from architecture, and she's leading the working group on societal impact together with a professor. She's also developed the societal impact toolkit. So there's a lot to tell, I think, about this topic. So we might better organize a separate meeting on this topic then.
Yes, I think so too.
Okay.
But it sounds great. So I will send you an email after this meeting,
Okay. Yeah.
and then I
Very
hope we will find each other.
perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. It's nice to see that there is interest for a follow-up because, yes, I think I find the great value in meeting all us together, working in different universities, but more or less interested in some same topics. Are there any other feedback from? Yes, I see Elpida raised her hand.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Perfect. I just wanted to ask if you would like to share a bit about what is, in your experience, an effective way to engage with new companies to expand your network. So how to track the right companies and how to get in touch with them so that there's an engaged connection, let's say, to start with. And how you've already discussed about maintaining this network, etc. But I was just wondering, as a first step, what is your experience about doing the first contact?
Maybe Steve, as a business developer, do you want to, or Karen?
Yeah,
because
I can maybe quickly share my view, and then Karen can maybe share, because she also mentioned it in her slides. So from my point of view, what works in our case is also, again, a mix. So we have a bit the people that contact us or one of the colleagues with a specific question, and then it's just a way of finding the right person to connect with, set up a first meeting, be involved there as a business developer as well to see, to make sure that the matching between the researcher and the company goes well. So, and on the other hand, it's often through existing ecosystems, or someone knows someone that needs something, and word of mouth is also really important. We often see also our, let's say, partners as ambassadors that, let's say, open new doors for us or link to new opportunities. And the third one is actually going to an event, for example. Yes, I was yesterday at an engineering event in Ghent, for example, with 100+ booths with companies, also people looking for solutions, and connecting with those people, talking about what their need is and what we can offer for them also helps. And this is, of course, an investment, both in time and sometimes in money, but it really helps connecting to new companies, new domains, because after a while you're all fishing in the same pond, and no fish are left basically. So you need to expand your area sometimes a bit.
I think maybe from the central department point of view, like we are existing for some time now, and at the start we organized a lot of events as well for companies to come to our university and listen to what we had to tell. But now we make more use of the existing organization that have a big company that have a lot of members. For example, the Chamber of Commerce. That's a good example. They have groups of companies and they have working groups. So we try to use their platforms and send, for example, someone from TTO or a business developer or a researcher to do presentations for the groups that are already coming together, so that we can share in those groups what we do and how we can collaborate. So we use the presentation on how to collaborate, and then sometimes we go into a certain topic when the group is specifically for one domain. So just use other partners, use the community, use the region to make sure you get a platform in all those organizations to tell your story.
That's really helpful. Thank you.
Sorry, my connection collapsed. So it's nearly the same like for the University of Hasselt. The only additional thing is that we also are exploring address lists in connection to find out to a specific sector, new people we can visit. Most of the times people contact us and we are looking what's needed, connect with the corresponding researchers, doing then a joint visit, of course. Most of the contacts we also have in connection with different conferences, networking events, and however, we also having a specific contact list in connection with companies here, which we are using in order to plan company visits. And of course, we contact them. And normally, they invite us as a university to do a presentation.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, I don't know if there are other questions, or should I conclude our session today? Thank you very much all for being present. Thanks University of Hasselt and Montana Universität Leoben for their very comprehensive presentations. Please take some minutes to fill in the evaluation questionnaire, and I will try to catch up with you in the following weeks to see if there is interest for a follow-up, a next meeting, if there is another university that maybe would like to present their technology transfer office, or if another subject emerged, like service to society and how the technology transfer offices can address it. So thank you all. Have a nice rest of the day, and we will keep in touch.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.